All right, so one of the ways that we need to be separate from the ways of the world to be in the truth is to not be engaging with the professional and college sports, going to the games, sitting around watching them on television. The reason why is because all these games are rigged. Basically, any game you can gamble on with Vegas is rigged. So that includes all the professional sports, but also includes like major Division I college football and basketball, and even the college baseball, the Division I college baseball games. Some of those are rigged. You can gamble on them. I mean, you can gamble on a lot of things nowadays. Basically, anything you can gamble on can or is rigged, and especially at the pro level, all of those games are rigged. It's a script. The players follow a script. The coaches follow a script. A lot of them are in the secret societies, at least at the low level. Even a lot of the Division I college basketball and football coaches, all those guys at the major programs like the Power 5, ACC, SEC, all that, they're going to be initiated into societal orders. That's why they get in that position. And even if they weren't, they're very much networked in with the entertainment system of sports. But a lot of them are involved with secret societies, and that goes for a lot of the announcers, the commentators, those the guys that are on like the college game day stations, like on ESPN. They do this college game day stuff every Saturday, where like Kirk Herbstreit and Tim Tebow and all these guys, they they do this college game day stuff where they travel to each college, and then they set up shop, and everyone watch, and like there's everyone at the college goes and like attends. I don't think Kirk Herbstreit he's not one of the main commentators there, but he is one of the main commentators for like ESPN Sports or something. I haven't watched that stuff in a couple years. I literally don't pay attention to it at all. But I'm just naming some names so people can know, like, all these people are involved in secret societies. Tim Tebow is a false minister of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14-15. If you look up Tim Tebow, it looks like he does a lot of good. He's involved in the community. He fights against sex trafficking. All right, but what people don't understand is he is working as a false minister of light. So all of that is to look good on the outside, right? But he'll never ever tell you the real truth. He'll never tell you the truth. He'll never tell you that these sports are scripted. He won a national championship. Like, all those national championship games are scripted, all right? Whoever wins the Heisman, that's rigged and scripted. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, rigged and scripted, all right? So when you go to a Jacksonville Jaguars game or a New England Patriots game, that winner is already predetermined. It's not an organic competition, right? So this is the lie. Okay, it's a lie. People think it's real. I grew up thinking it was real. I totally idolized all of this. I gambled on a lot of it when I turned 18. Had a severe addiction with that, on and off. I was into all the fantasy sports. Knew like most of the players in the pro and all the college teams. And I was a huge fan of Clemson, which is a university based in South Carolina. They were really good at football. So I know how the sports world works. Plus, I played competitive sports like most of my life growing up. So I know how all this works. And if you go study gematria, you see all these games are all coded with numbers, and it's all ran by the numbers. And then, not to mention that, but like I said, you can gamble on all these games with Vegas. So do you think Vegas, which is ran by the government, is going to let you gamble on organic games? No, that's just naive. So there's a reason why all of this legalized gambling online came about with the DraftKings and FanDuel recently, because it's all about dumbing down the masses and making everyone sinners in the eyes of God. So that's why that's really become amplified recently, and that happened a lot of this during the same time as like when they legalized weed, marijuana. Both of those things came about the same time. So, but if you follow Christ, you can't be sitting around watching those sports. I mean, it's idolatry. You have idols in your heart. You're watching grown men chase around a ball. But you're a grown man supposed to be a man of God being set apart in this world. Instead, you're watching other grown men who don't care about you chase around a ball, and it's scripted, which means it's a lie. And children of God are not supposed to be taking part in lies, right? So it's all part of the fabricated reality through the system of Babylon. And, all these sports leagues, it's a huge deception. people think that these sports leagues, especially Christians, that like they like worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like these players, like for instance, like when people hit home runs, like Albert Pujols, when he does that, when all these guys do that and point to the sky after hitting a home run, or someone scores a touchdown, people think that they're thanking the God of creation when they do that. When they're not, they're thanking the system, the God of this system, which is who? Which is Satan. The God of this entertainment scripted system is Satan. So they're thanking him, which is the God of their secret society. All right, they're not thanking the real Father. So that's a huge deception. And then when you hear all these stories about just situations in sports, and it's like a loving God moment, or these coaches, after games say, well, praise God, he was with us for that win, and God really helped us, and God really helped us pull through. Well, the game is already, no one won the game. Like the winner was already predetermined. So how did the Most High, who has no lie in him and no darkness in him, help you win that game? It doesn't make any sense. So it's truly all an illusion, just like politics. And then you have all these different sports stars that claim to be Christians, but like they're all living a lie, and a lot of them are initiated into societal orders, right? So like Russell Wilson, claims to follow the Messiah, but he doesn't follow the Messiah. How do I know? Because of his fruit, right? He's a star in the entertainment system of Satan, and he never tells the truth ever. He will never tell you the truth about God's laws, or about how we've been lied to about this, that, and the other. He'll never expose the NFL for what it is, because why would he? That's how he makes his money, you see? So to trust any of them is just very simple-minded. And yes, it is idolatry because it's a lie, and you're just sitting around watching sports on the television, just like watching like Netflix all day. Like that's a sin, right? That's wrong. It's not, seeking the Father. There's a lot better things you can do in your spare time than just watching rigged sports, all right? And grown men and women, we're not supposed to be doing that, all right? So that's a big lie, and it's a huge distraction from serving God. And the Christian churches have no idea about any of this. Absolutely no idea. They'll promote, these games and events, and they think that, when the word God is mentioned around any of these sports events, that are on TV, that is talking about, the God they claim to worship, the actual God of the Bible, creator God. But it's not. It's talking about the other God, the masquerader, because that's what he does. Satan masquerades. And everyone's been deceived. I was deceived. Like I had no idea, and I learned it's all rigged and scripted, and then was seeking truth and had to give all that up. In fact, I was easy to give up because it's all a lie, right? And it was a waste of time. And it becomes an identity for people. Like you take on the identity of the team. It's like part of you. If you love the Alabama Crimson Tide, it like becomes part of you. You put it in your Facebook bio, in your Instagram bio, lover of Alabama Crimson Tide, roll Tide, right? But Nick Saban, I don't even think he coaches for them anymore. Like I said, I haven't paid attention. Nick Saban is involved in Freemasonry. That's why he's one of the greatest college football coaches ever and won all the championships, right? So he does not care about you at all. And those games are scripted, right? So you're engaged with the lie. You're being mind controlled. Does the Most High God want you to be mind controlled? Or does he want you to live in reality, right? So we're not supposed to partake in these games. And yes, it becomes part of you almost. And there's all these different spirits attached to all these competitive games, like the spirit of strife and competition and pride, okay? It becomes worship of self. It's about worshiping the players. The players worship themselves. You love the sports team more than you love the Father in heaven, or even more than you love yourself, because you should be practicing righteousness, or at least like taking better care of yourself in your free time than watching sports, and you're not. You're choosing to engage with the lie. So that's not taking care of yourself. You love the sports team more than you. The spirit of pride, spirit of anger. People get angry when their team doesn't win, or when your fantasy football team doesn't win, or when you lose in gambling, when you bet on a team and they don't cover the spread, and you lose money. Like that is emotional manipulation, right? That you're allowing in, because you come into agreement with all this debauchery. That's really what it is. So it's all a lie. And yeah, all the Christian churches, they have absolutely no idea, because they're not talking to the real creator. If they were talking to the real creator, then they would be able to realize all of these truths. It would be shown to them that they were engaged in worshiping idols and in a lie. All right. But they don't talk about this. Instead, they promote it. In fact, I even drove by a Methodist church a few weeks ago where I live, and they had a big sign out. It said like Holy Smoke Barbecue, September, it was like next Saturday or something, whatever the date is, next Saturday. And it was like a Holy Smoke Barbecue tailgate, fun family football. And this is a Methodist church, and they're doing this on a Saturday, and it's a big tailgate. And I live in Tennessee, and a lot of people around here are Tennessee Volunteer fans. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Tennessee has a big game that weekend, and that's why they're doing it. I looked it up, and they play Oklahoma, which that is a big game because like they're both ranked, and that's a Big 12 SEC matchup, whatever. And so that's a big game. There's probably other big games that they're tailgating for, whatever. So they're watching these sports games on Saturday, which is actually the seventh-day Sabbath, which they reject and say is done away with. But it's the sign between God and his people is the Sabbath day. So instead of resting on the Sabbath day and communing with the Father on a day that he set apart and sanctified, we're actually engaged with the worship of idols. That's what people do when they're doing that, so-called believers. And, people that follow these pastors, they don't know because they're led by the blind. Blind leaders lead the blind, right? Matthew 15:14. And so that's what they're choosing to do on the Sabbath day instead of resting with the Father. It said, Paul says that the law of God is enmity with the carnal mind. So a lot of people would choose to rather watch the football and hang out and tailgate and all that rather than, rest with the Father on a day that he commanded us to rest. And another thing that was crazy, it was a barbecue tailgate. So they're going to have barbecue, pork. And the Lord in Isaiah 66:15-17 says he's coming with the sword to destroy all those who eat pork and all the abominations, he said, in the law to not eat. He said he's going to destroy people. So the Lord called these foods abominations, but Christianity has been taught through the misinterpretation of Paul's letters that these foods are okay to eat. And I used to think they were okay to eat until I continued to seek it out and study and praise God for opening my eyes. Even to that scripture I just quoted, Isaiah 66:15-17, total eye opener, right? The Lord's going to destroy people who eat pork. And so this Christian Methodist church is claiming to follow the Creator, but they're literally worshiping Satan in a lot of ways. Worship of idols, rejecting the Sabbath day, worshiping the idols on the Sabbath day, desecrating it, and eating unclean foods, right? So totally brainwashed. And I'm sure some of these people are really genuine, kind, sweet people, but they've been led astray, right? And that's part of being in this fallen world is there's a lot of deception. So we got to come out of deception. And for stuff like that, there's really no excuse, right? And they named it Holy Smoke. They named this tailgate on Saturday Holy Smoke. So it's like a spinoff of the holy God. Okay, so the scriptures say to be holy for I am holy, which means set apart. You're supposed to be, set apart from the world by walking in the ways of the Father and his Son. Yet you're doing the exact opposite. You're really being worse than the world. You're just like the world, engaging with the idolatry of the sports and eating, food that isn't actually food, unclean food, and then desecrating the Sabbath day, which is what makes us holy. It's part of what makes us holy, makes us set apart. So that's what's going on in the Christian religions of this world. And then of course the children go and they have no idea. I mean, I didn't know when I was that young. You just don't know. And then they were gonna have bounce houses and whatnot. I mean, and that's innocent for them, but for the children. But I mean, if you go to Christian churches, you are being brainwashed by the world. You're not coming out of the world. You're being brainwashed by the world. If you're supposed to come out of the world when you come into the truth, right? And there's even people that have, that follow Torah, that even follow the Sabbath day, but then the next day on Sunday, they're watching all the NFL sports and they think it's real. So there's people that keep the Sabbath day that are also under delusion and in mind control and in idolatry, that keep the Sabbath day and know that denominational Christianity is not the truth. So they're also deceived through that, right? That's not good. So it is a narrow path, and we're supposed to, forsake all these idols, these modern day idols in the ways of the world, right? 1 John 2 verse 15 through 17 says that if any man love the world or the things of the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So if you keep the Sabbath day on Saturday and rest, but yet you love the NFL the next day or the MLB throughout the, summer season, then the love of the Father is not in you. So your Sabbath keeping is in vain, really, because you have to go all out for God, right? Or if you go to Christian church and you pay your tithe and, you're not fornicating or, murdering or doing the obvious sins, but then you have idols in your heart, it's all vain. And you're not even supposed to go to Christian church. God says, come out of her. Revelation 18:4, come out of the harlot, this world Babylonian system that has deceived the whole world, right? And the gods of the sports leagues and the god of the religions are all the same gods. All these Egyptian gods that all the occultists worship, which is just Lucifer masquerading in a lot of different ways, right? That's who's being worshipped. So we're supposed to be set apart from all this. And of course, this is crazy talk to a lot of people, but they don't study it out. I mean, even the announcers tell you to your face, like they'll make a point like, oh, and they really followed the script there. And what a show that was. Are you enjoying the show? They're mocking the audience because they know the audience is under a spell watching, because it comes through the television program. It's programming. Even the sports games are programming. So you're being programmed and you're under a spell. That's why you can't see that it's rigged. That's why you don't realize when the announcer says, oh, they followed the script right there. Or the coach after the game, well, we really stuck to the script. He's literally actually reading off a script about the script to mock the audience. It's crazy. So this world is all full of lies and deception. And the solution is knowing the Father within and following him. So we must be separate from the ways of the world and be a light.